Hi, this is David Snyder. I play the guitar, and nice person on YouTube took a look at a original song that I posted called Ode to Chet Atkins, based upon a chance when I actually got a chance to meet the great guitar player and spend a few moments with him. And the person said, hey, can you maybe show a couple of techniques on like how you finger pick in the Chet Atkins style. So I thought that was a good idea. I'm going to do a series on this, kind of start off with some basics, do some different camera angles, and yeah, I think this will be a fun exercise. The thing that you have to have going for you if you're going to play in the finger picking style, and you can learn this from any number of classical guitar books, but you have to be able to play with all of these three fingers. It's called the PMI style of finger picking. So you're using your middle finger, your index finger, and your pointing finger, and you have to be able to go like this. And you also have to be able to do it in the reverse order. So sometimes when I'm practicing, I will literally spend hours, if I'm working on a particular song, doing nothing but and then so as you practice and you get faster, obviously you can do that little number, which becomes very important in the finger picking, cross picking, Chet Atkins or Jerry Reed finger picking style. Also, your thumb has to be completely independent of these three fingers. That is, the thumb, it's got to be able to do its own thing. So one of the things that I do when I'm practicing is that I will keep these three fingers stationary, and I will just practice just playing certain notes with my thumb. Because the thumb has got to be doing its own thing. And this applies for not only classical guitar, obviously, but for finger picking too. My thumb literally doesn't care what the rest of my fingers are doing. It's kind of doing its own thing. So when you get into cross picking or finger picking, that becomes important, because whatever your thumb is doing really has no relation to what the other fingers are. So if I were to slow this down, 100 times, you would see that my thumb was going. While my little fingers were going. Nothing complicated about this. Actually, in this particular mode, I'm not doing anything but I'm playing an E7 chord, which is a pretty easy chord. I mean, you have a B, you have an open E, or pretty much open everything, and you're playing a D on the second string, 3rd fret. So, and the rest of it is just a combination of hammering on, and an independent thumb. So one thing that I really like about this particular style is if you take this E7 chord, which is very easy to make, looks like this, first finger on the G sharp, which would be first fret of the 3rd string, then you're making the B, 2nd fret of the 5th string. Everything else is open, but you're hammering on the D on the 2nd string. You can move this chord up and down the fretboard any way that you want to. You can do fancy things with it to make it look like you're a maestro. You can just move the chord up chromatically, and it kind of gives that wow effect in certain songs. If you want to transition, you want to have a transition phrase, say between an E and an A7. Watch. Okay, so you can just move it up. The other thing that's really handy about it is it also makes an excellent augmented formation if you move it up to, say for example, the 6th fret if you want to play like an A7 style chord. So here, classic blues, bum, bum, bum. Do a little move up, bum, bum. Then you go to the 6th fret. So here we're playing an A7, but one thing that's very typical in sort of the Chet Atkins style is not only are you playing the 7th, but say for example on the 2nd string we can drop it down, so we're playing more of like a 6th modality. So you don't just have to do this. Try dropping, in this particular case, try dropping the G note on the A7 to an F sharp. You know, a classic Chet Atkins style move. But of course, you've got the G at your disposal. Jazz blues. Okay, and then of course you can move this up. And here I'm playing with my 2nd finger on the 12th fret. It would bring me back to an E7. But here's a nice little way to play a D7. Go to the 6th fret, I've got a nice little A7. Up one more, B7. So, as you can probably tell, none of these chords are extremely complicated, but you can move them all around. This particular version would be just a slight variation of what every guitar player knows is your basic B minor chord. You know, B minor for a dummy, so to speak. Here we're doing the same thing, but instead of doing the classic B minor formation, I'm dropping this finger down 1 fret on the 1st string, so I get this. And then for fancy stuff, I can just move this thing down rapidly. And go back to any chord that I want to. So if we just, you know, put together the things that we've known so far, you know, we can just have fun with this. I mean, I think no real finger picking bluegrass country style song. It's never played exactly the same way twice. So your main goal is just to have some fun. So here we go. How that works. E7. Keep on moving. And then for the ending of this, one thing that you should really have a lot of fun with is in finger picking, especially in country style, a lot of scales are simply pull-offs that are on the same fret. They're a lot easier than they actually sound. In classical guitar, you might actually have to play actual scales, but that's not really the case in a lot of bluegrass country style. You'll actually be just pulling off on the same fret. So you could get here, and you want to have a nice little ending, you go, see, that's the same fret, same fret. Okay, so a classic ending to a hillbilly song like this would be you get here, you're about to close. Well, that should be enough for lesson number 1. Those are some of the fundamentals, and I will cover more in subsequent chapters, so to speak. Thank you.